First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
And hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thank you very much for joining us. We are live here from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom, as we are every weekday, starting around 1 p.m., going throughout the afternoon. And we cover a wide range of topics here on this show. We get to have longer form conversations here. So we appreciate you joining us today. We are talking about a tournament of champions, not the one with basketball. We're talking about an actual competition, a culinary competition that is going on, the sixth version of this. And one of the competitors is right here from the Northwest, where he is joining us right now from Bend, Oregon. We've got Carlos Anthony with us. Carlos, it is great to have you here on the show. Thank you very much for joining us. Whoops, as I just got rid of you right there. There we go. There we go. It's a new system.
I love it.
Hey, we're live. So I've got Carlos here on the show with us. And you know what? I want to start off, though, just by talking about exactly where it is you are, because this looks pretty amazing right there.
Isn't this beautiful? We are in Bend, Oregon at the Hawkeye and Huckleberry Lounge, one of the most amazing steakhouse in all of the Pacific Northwest. If you haven't been, you got to come check us out.
There you are. And so that, number one, looks awesome in the background. I mean, it's not just in Bend. You are also from Bend. Is that right?
So, yeah, we have a beautiful ranch in Tumalo that's absolutely gorgeous. I just love this area.
And so let's talk about, growing up with this, like, how did you develop your love of food and of cooking, of being a chef? How did you develop that?
It really stems, and I know this is very cliche, but it came from my grandmother. Raised by my grandparents, having a real love of cooking for people, I think is so important. It's so much more than just feeding people. It's taking care of them. And I learned this at a very young age.
And I think that's an interesting, aspect of it too. So it's caring for other people. So it's not just going, I'm sure there's other aspects that go into it too, but that's really one of the things that motivated you, if I'm hearing that correctly.
Yeah, listen, it's hospitality. We are in the business of taking care of people. And I think long before I learned the skills to cook for people, I learned how important it is to make them happy. And that's something that I fell in love with, and that has really strengthened me on my culinary journey.
Is that something still, to this day, is that one of those guiding things for you? Those, no matter how much success you've had, how many places you've gone, and what you've cooked and all of that, is that still one of the underlying things that drives you?
Absolutely. It's the people. It's the connection to who's coming in, to who you're feeding. I mean, trust me, most people that walk into a restaurant aren't there just to be fed. They're there to celebrate. They're there to have a memory. We talk about it in our restaurants all the time. We are about making memories. And that is something that I find so awesome in our industry that makes it really fun to do.
That's amazing. I mean, and you're pretty good at it too. So adding, that's a bonus to it. So adding that onto it, let's talk about this. You've been involved in being a celebrity chef for a while now, and having that moniker, whether that's what you call yourself or not, I don't know, but that is something that's come into it. And so, for you, what is it like entering into that kind of world? I mean, you've been in it for a long time now, but being a part of that world and then going on to like a competition that we're going to be discussing here.
Well, I like to say it's a celebrated chef. I don't necessarily think of myself as a celebrity just yet. But I will tell you that going to these different competitions, particularly the Tournament of Champions, where you have these food stars, these icons, it really makes you feel, it gives you this sense of confidence to say that, man, I can do anything because I'm up against the best in the business.
Does it just bring that out from you too, like maybe up your game a little bit when you're doing that?
Absolutely. It's competition. To be a competitive chef, not just to be a chef, but to be a competitor, you have to love competition. So when you see the likes of Jet Tila or Amanda Freitag you're going up against, you got to bring your A game. And I think that creates better chefs.
And that is something I'm curious about, behind the scenes, because you are all, relatively in the same world, the culinary world of what you do. And some, when people are watching some of these competitions, they could be like, okay, maybe that's a little bit, I'm not saying rigged, or maybe this is leaning towards one way or another. What's it really like behind the scenes? What is it like behind the scenes when you're there with your other fellow competitors?
Let me tell you that from the bottom to top, the chefs that are in these competition want to win. They care so deeply about it. We wait all year long for this competition, and it is the biggest stage. So these chefs, from myself to Jet to Antonio Lafaso, we're desperate to win. So we care about every detail. And trust me, we wish the camera stopped. We wish that they would give us more time. But it is, Guy Fieri he does not stay away from the rules. He makes sure that it is 100% legit. I mean, what's great about Tournament Champions, it's blind judging. So as great as all of us are, as some notoriety that some of these chefs have, it's blind. So you got to let your food do the talking.
So what do you do? How do you prepare for something like this, for going into something like this?
Well, so this is my fourth year competing, and every year it shocks me how little prepared I am. You can't prepare for something that is random. When they spin that randomizer, you're at the mercy of the roll. And what I like to do in our restaurants down here at Hawkeye and the Huckleberry is we do mini competitions. So I'll pit myself against the other chefs, against the other cooks. I do random ingredients, and I just sharpen my skills.
Nice. And, when you are doing those random competitions, does anybody get the benefit of whatever those results are?
No, listen, I win out every single one of them, all right? I got to keep the confidence high. You got to keep the confidence high.
Fair enough. well, let's talk about that. You being there in Bend at this restaurant at Hawkeye and Huckleberry's, and and having your roots here, with Oregon and with your grandma and all of that. So I want to ask, just specifically here in the Northwest, what do you think it is about the Northwest, about Bend, about Oregon that really, prepares you for these competitions, but also what does it give you that other competitors may not have?
One of our great farmers from Rain Shadow Farms down here taught me this, and she said that great food or great vegetables that are grown in Bend, they have to strain a little bit. And much like a fine wine, that strain makes you stronger. It makes you more delicious. So I feel like, being out here in the Pacific Northwest, we have to strain a little bit. We've got cold weather and we've got hot weather. We've got it all, but it only makes us stronger for it.
And so using those local ingredients, those different things that have to maybe go through a little bit more to be grown, that's helped shape how you cook and how you go about things.
Absolutely. And, we're as local as it gets. We have a ranch down in Tumalo where we're sourcing our beef. We have this incredible hemp finished beef. It's the only beef like that in the country. And so the storyline is so clear. Like, we know where these cows came from. We know where that farm is. We are so connected to the high desert, right? To Bend.
Yeah. I mean, number one, you're making me hungry and wanting to go there right now. It's about 3.5 hours from where I'm at, so I don't. It'd be a little while till I get there, but nonetheless.
Once that pass clears, I'm looking for you, though.
That's true. Yeah, I love this idea. Yeah, maybe we should head out there. Well, for everybody watching, what is the message you would give to the people in the Northwest watching you compete to root you on?
Well, first I would say to all those young cooks, chefs out there, people that are in the industry, if you can believe it, dare to do it. Dare to be great. If I can do it, trust me, you can too. I think oftentimes we're held back by something that is difficult or feels insurmountable, but it's so important to challenge yourself, to give it your best, and to, like I said, dare to be great.
Yeah, and that's something that everybody out there who's aspiring, to get to a level that you're at, to even just, make this their profession. That's something that they should be doing, is challenging themselves, if I'm understanding that correctly.
Yeah, challenge yourself, try your darndest at everything that you do. And like I said, I often have to pinch myself being in these moments, being with these other chefs. I'm just like, what am I doing here? But that doesn't stop my level of competitiveness. They still want to win. And I think each year that I've competed, I've gotten stronger and better. And it's made me a better chef and a more rounded person.
That's incredible. I mean, and still, even at your level, growing, learning more, and
every day. Yeah. Every day. Well, these darn chefs, they get better and better every year. It gets more crazy. I'm just like, every time I'm feeling good about myself, I walk up to another chef that's into the competition and, I'm like, well, Gotta giddy up.
Got to up the game. Do you do that when you're going out, just in regular life, going to different restaurants? Are you always checking out what they're making and how they're going about it?
Yeah, I think that our industry is, I don't want to say that it's competitive, but it's so collaborative.
Yeah.
Seeing other chefs, what they're doing, and it inspires you to do better. You're like, man, I had this incredible steak down the road. I want to up my game a little bit. I think it's important that you're constantly challenging yourself and that you're learning from your peers.
Yeah, learn, like, say, oh, I didn't even think about doing this. This is what they did here. Maybe if I combine that with something else, then taking that and creating something entirely new, I would imagine, out of it.
Absolutely. You can always learn more. You can always do a little bit better. At least that's the message that we preach here.
I have one last question for you, too. It's about this competition that's coming up where people are going to be able to watch you in the competition. For the average viewer, is there anything they can look out for? The cameras are all over you all as you're cooking. Something that the average viewer may be able to look for that that you wouldn't necessarily know unless you happen to be a chef. Something that they're doing or the way they're going about cooking. Is there anything like that?
Well, I think that a lot of us chefs have a lot of tips and tricks that we use throughout competition. But what I would really focus in on is how each chef, the chefs that do well, they represent themselves the most. A lot of times you think that cooking is for cooking for other people. You really got to represent who you are, what your food is, and what your message is. And as soon as you have that clear, everything else is just a game.
Gotcha. All right. I will look for that. Look at how each person is going about their business, what they do best, and how they're doing it. Well, Carlos, you are one of the best, and thank you very much for having some time to join us here today. I really appreciate it. You being here on the show. Good luck in the competition. You're representing Bend, you're representing the Northwest, and obviously we got to make it out there. Real quick, one more time. Let's give a shout out to where you're at right now.
We're at Hawkeye and the Huckleberry Lounge in Bend, Oregon, right off Century Drive. Come and see us. Come try some of our local hemp-finished beef, and then catch me on Tournament of Champions on Sunday, 8 p.m.
There we go. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And I am still hungry now watching that, so I'm just gonna say that. All right. So again, Carlos said I want to make sure I get this right. So episode 604, Sunday, March 23rd at 8 p.m. It's called "Leave It All on the Floor," the Tournament Champions 6 with Guy Fieri. So there you go. He's going to be in that competition. And thank you everybody for joining us. This is Fox 12 Now. We are live streaming here from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. A lot happens here every day, starting at 1 p.m. going throughout the afternoon. Getting to have conversations like that, like we just had there with Carlos. So thanks for joining us. I will talk to you soon. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.